Hey, Room 5. Welcome to the first bedtime story edition of quarantine being at home. So I thought something fun that we could do is record just some bedtime stories so that whenever you want, you can tune in and listen, since we don't get to do our read aloud after lunch every day. Maybe we can do them before bed. So I have my cozy robe on and my pajama pants, and oh boy, it's a little bit sideways. So I thought I'd start with Frog and Toad since I have this full book. I know some of you have it too. So if you want to pause and go grab your copy, you can, or if you want to just get cozy and listen in. If you have a younger brother or sister, they might want to listen too. I was just going to read 2 stories out of here a night and until we finish it. And then I'll read you Mercy Watson 5 and 6. Okay. So the first chapter in here is called Spring, which is a very, very appropriate story since it is spring. I will scoot the pictures up when before I turn the page. Frog ran up the path to Toad's house. He knocked on the front door. There was no answer. "Toad, Toad," shouted Frog. "Wake up! It is spring." "Blah," said a voice from inside the house. "Toad, Toad," cried Frog. "The sun is shining. The snow is melting. Wake up." "I am not here," said the voice. Oh, Toad. Frog walked into the house. It was dark. All the shutters were closed. "Toad, where are you?" called Frog. "Go away," said the voice from a corner of the room. Toad was lying in bed. He had pulled all the covers over his head. Frog pushed Toad out of bed. He pushed him out of the house and onto the front porch. Toad blinked in the bright sun. "Help," said Toad. "I cannot see anything." "Don't be silly," said Frog. "What you can see is the clear, warm light of April, and it means that we can begin a whole new year together, Toad." "Think of it," said Frog. "We will skip through the meadows and run through the woods and swim in the river. In the evenings, we will sit right here on this front porch and count the stars." "You can count them, Frog," said Toad. "I will be too tired. I'm going back to bed." Toad went back into the house. He got into the bed and pulled the covers over his head again. "But Toad," cried Frog, "you will miss all the fun." "Listen, Frog," said Toad. "How long have I been asleep?" "You've been asleep since November," said Frog. "Well then," said Toad, "a little more sleep will not hurt me. Come back again and wake me up at about 1/2 May. Good night, Frog." Sleepyhead. "But Toad," said Frog, "I will be lonely until then." Toad did not answer. He had fallen asleep. Frog looked at Toad's calendar. The November page was still on top. Frog tore off the November page. He tore off the December page and the January page and the February page and the March page. He came to the April page. Frog tore off the April page too. Then Frog ran back to Toad's bed. "Toad, Toad, wake up. It's May now." "What?" said Toad. "Can it be May so soon?" "Yes," said Frog. "Just look at your calendar." Toad looked at the calendar. The May page was on top. "Why, it is May," said Toad as he climbed out of bed. Then he and Frog ran outside to see how the world was looking in the spring. That was a good one. The next one I've read to you, it's called The Story, And the next one after that is A Lost Button, which you read in your reading book. So the next one that I'm going to read to you today is called The Letter. Hold on 1 minute. I think the dog wants to come into the room. Can you hear her? Sorry.
Hey, come on. Come on.
Or I'll just leave it open. She can come in here if she wants. The puppy wants to come in. This chapter is called The Letter. Toad was sitting on his front porch. Frog came along and said, "What is the matter, Toad? You're looking sad." "Yes," said Toad. "This is my sad time of day. It is the time when I wait for the mail to come. It always makes me very unhappy." "Why is that?" asked Frog. "Because I never get any mail," said Toad. "Not ever?" asked Frog. "No, never," said Toad. "No one has ever sent me a letter. Every day my mailbox is empty. That is why waiting for the mail is a sad time for me." Frog and Toad sat on the porch, feeling sad together. Then Frog said, "I have to go home now, Toad. There's something that I must do." Frog hurried home. He found a pencil and a piece of paper. He wrote on the paper. He put the paper in an envelope. On the envelope he wrote, "A letter for Toad." Frog ran out of his house. He saw a snail that he knew. "Snail," said Frog, "please take this letter to Toad's house and put it in his mailbox." "Sure," said the snail. "Right away." I don't think if you want to get mail somewhere fast, you give it to a snail. Then Frog ran back to Toad's house. Toad was in bed taking a nap. "Toad," said Frog, "I think you should get up and wait for the mail some more." "No," said Toad. "I'm tired of waiting for the mail." Frog looked out the window at Toad's mailbox. The snail was not there yet. "Toad," said Frog, "you never know when someone may send you a letter." "No, no," said Toad. "I do not think anyone will send me a letter." Frog looked out the window. The snail was not there yet. But Toad," said Frog, "someone may send you a letter today." "Don't be silly," said Toad. "No one has ever sent me a letter before, and no one will send me a letter today." Frog looked out the window. The snail was still not there. "Frog, why do you keep looking out the window?" asked Toad. "Oh, because now I'm waiting for the mail," said Frog. "But there will not be any," said Toad. "Oh, yes, there will," said Frog, "because I have sent you a letter." "You have?" said Toad. "What did you write in the letter?" Frog said, "I wrote, 'Dear Toad, I'm glad that you are my best friend. Your best friend, Frog.'" "Oh," said Toad, "that makes a very good letter." Then Frog and Toad went out onto the porch to wait for the mail. They sat there, feeling happy together. Frog and Toad waited a long time. 4 days later, the snail got to Toad's house and gave him the letter from Frog. Toad was very pleased to have it. that's it for tonight. We'll read the next 2 tomorrow night. So sweet dreams. I love you. I miss you. There's no place like home.